Hello everybody, it's me, CodeReader1993, and I gotta say something about this video right here, because it is not what I meant to be the first episode of Talkzone. So the second video that I'm gonna upload about this series is gonna sound like I have no idea how to name it, because back then I had no idea how to name it. The point is, in the meantime, something has happened that is kinda making me feel like I need to get this out there. It's probably kinda pointless to tell people about it because it doesn't concern anybody else, but I make this to talk about stuff that happened and how I feel about this stuff, so might as well talk about this stuff. I just dropped a cola bottle on the floor and should probably not open that one anymore. So I'm gonna make an introduction here because this is now the first episode. In Talkzone, I'm just going to talk. If something happened, if I was reading news about games that probably everybody else has heard already, just to get my point of view about things out there. I could probably talk about Formula 1, racing, wrestling, something, stuff, all like that, or anything else like this. Now, to talk about this, we have to get one small detail out that is kind of unimportant, actually, and that is that on the Wii U Nintendo social network, can I use the word social for this? I don't know, Miiverse, I'm since December last year running some sort of weekly episodic wrestling kinda like type of show. Now, I'm not saying this to advertise, it's kind of important for the story, because now it can be kinda explained quite quickly. Not even a week ago from when I'm recording, I suddenly had a new follower on Miiverse, and also later saw that I had a friend request of the same person asking to A, join GCW, and to B, secondary, maybe we can even be friends. I kinda like that logic, so I want to be in the show and maybe eventually we can be friends. I mean, I'm sending you a friend request, but we don't have to be friends just because I send you a friend request, something like that. Either way, I didn't know who this person was until a friend of mine, I'm not going to say any names in this video by the way, has sent me a link to a video that was made years ago about, it is a Miiverse thing, stuff that happened, the story that apparently everybody still knows because everybody was already referencing about it again when this guy returned. And so my first message to him was that I heard that something was there in the past, but I respect that he doesn't want to hear about it anymore. I respect that he wants to do a new start. Therefore, I just simply don't care. I'm gonna try to be a friend, and I'm not gonna talk. I'm not gonna ask him about what happened. Nothing like that. I'm going to be a friend, and I was, at least in my account, I think I was. So we got all the details over when he joins the show, and things like this worked. And now it happened that this friend of mine who told me about him has also started to join in on anybody else doing the jokes about the past story, or maybe he was the one making everybody start, I don't know that, but he did post some minor things that are triggering the past flashbacks, I'm guessing. And so now, a few days later now, after everything was fine, after I was being nice, after I told him that I don't care about the past and everything, he did find out, probably through my friend list or something else, what do I know, that I'm a friend of this person. Now, I'm not a friend of this person as in I like to make fun of others, it's not like that. I'm a friend of this person because long time ago, actually also by the beginning of last year, he asked me if he could join my show, and that's how we got to know each other. So we actually know each other since over a year now, and well, nothing bad happened in this time. I mean, view things maybe, and he is kind of a special person. I'm guessing that he's watching this, so sorry, but special is not a bad word. It's just you do make videos about people that trust you and put them on YouTube and then are like, I said sorry before I was posting them. So I'm also really asking you not to post any names in the comment section right now if you're watching this, because you know who I'm talking about, but please do not do that. I'm gonna delete the comment if you do, so don't do that. And things went quite okay. Now, he found out that I was a friend of him and wrote it in all caps into the Miiverse messages, and I understood that he was probably a little bit more of a worry than a shock or something like that, because I maybe would be too if I figured out that a person that helped me so far is a friend of a person that does anything but anything else but helping. And I was telling him that just as I'm a friend of this guy, I'm also a friend of the one person that he says to be the nicest person that there is. So I thought that maybe this will balance things out a bit. But it didn't, and he was, again, in all caps, sending me the request that he wanted a match in this wrestling show that I make against this guy. Now, I am usually not the kind of person to book stuff like this, because I want to separate private stories and business. These two things should never be mixed, because it can only end terrible for me. For example, in this case, if I would go by logic, this other guy, friend of mine who I know for longer, who's longer in the show, would have to be the more experienced guy, therefore would have to win against a person who's just having his debut match. But if I do this person just having his debut match, who's already hating me for being a friend of him, would probably hate me a lot more. I did, though, agree, because the other guy said, okay, do it. Gave him a little Shia LaBeouf on me again. I decided that I would do it with throwing a dice, best of 3. The result of this was that the newcomer would win this match, and okay, so I wrote it to the friend that I knew for longer, and he was like, fine. I wrote it to the other guy, and he was like, I actually don't want to say it, but I'm probably going to edit the picture so you see what he was saying on the screen right now. And that kinda, I just thought this was a random outburst, nothing to be taken too serious, but it actually was. And as I was telling him that he might want to slow things down a bit by this point, because I have to consider if he's really a good person for me to have in my show, if he cannot separate these two things like that. Well, I'm gonna have to find a censor sound for next one, because he then, first of all, abstracted the word, but pretty much didn't abstract it later anymore, and dropped the F-bomb. You. Several times, for reminding you, only for being friend of a person that he doesn't like. And this has gone as far as that he was going on to call me a piece of worthless shit for being a friend of a person that he doesn't like. Not for joining in on any jokes, not for triggering the flashbacks of his past, not for disrespecting him, not for making jokes about him, not for laughing about him. I didn't even watch the videos about the past stories, because I was like, I don't give a flying feather about this stuff. That was a reference I shouldn't have made. And this, just because I'm a friend of a person, I was kind of like, what the hell is going on right now? He did apologize, he did say that he was sorry, and then expected an apology from me for being a friend of him, and that I end the friendship to this person. Beginning to insult me again a little bit. I was just as I was reading that it was time for my apology, I was like, oh, okay. what did I do so far? He asked me for a match, I gave him this match. He had the luck of the dice that he would win this match, which means he would stay strong in this show thing. I wasn't making jokes about him. I told him that I respected that he wanted to make a new start. I was a respectful person to him in any aspect. All that I was doing wrong is that I'm a friend of one person that he dislikes, but I'm also a friend of one person that he likes, and it didn't matter. So I did tell him again that he's right now judging me for a really childish reason, but then again, he doesn't want anyone to judge him, but judges others. It's a bad story. And anyway, the whole thing, luckily, did not end with me being called a piece of worthless shit again and again and again, but with him deleting me out of his friend list, which is okay, because that was actually pretty much the next step that I was about to do in this thing, because there isn't much of a chance that things would possibly go any better from this point on. I mean, it's obvious that despite how often I was, in this not even 1 week, respectable and nice, he would only see that I'm a friend of this one person that he hates, and therefore he would hate me too, which really is a childish reason, and it felt like kindergarten to me a little bit, to be quite honest with you. And I just don't see. I mean, I understand. I saw by a post that he did that he was apparently in an emotional, stressful situation at this point, but still, I don't think that you have to, well, let somebody let his anger out on you if you haven't really done a thing. I mean, I stood calm. I wasn't caps lock shouting back or anything. I was just calm. I was thinking, maybe if I write calm enough, he will calm down, he will figure out how, well, childish he sounds at the moment, and things would go okay again like they were a few hours ago. Ironically, he even posted 2 hours before the whole thing happened, he was posting that he was over the situation and would just ignore this guy from now on. And then this whole other thing happens, and, well, I already ironically called a video of mine that I wasn't posting, but a friend of mine posted it, The Joy of Miiverse, stating in the end that Miiverse really isn't much of a joy, and this was one example where I clearly saw it again. But usually I'm not inside of a story that makes me see that Miiverse is not a joy, but this time I was dropping into this thing. There wasn't really much of a chance. It was like driving on a NASCAR racetrack, and the big one happens right in front of you, and there's not really anything you can do. You could steer left, crash into a car. You could steer right, crash into a car. You could steer left, straight. It didn't matter what I was about to do. The car was already running off the cliff, and it's a sad thing. Also, if I consider that I was the first person in this guy's friend list, and maybe, I'm not going to say this in a total certain state, but when he says, in all caps lock, besides fuck you, that everybody hates him, and I was so far, from my point of view, a person that was respectful to him, it kind of gives me the feeling that he really just, because of this person being a friend of one guy that he didn't like, throw away the one contact he had. I mean, I couldn't change that the people troll him. That's for sure. Now, I'm not saying I can change this stuff. I mean, I did tell the guy who did troll him, this friend of mine, that it wasn't okay, but he's just all like, I know. And that's it. That's pretty much all that he's doing. He's just saying he knows that it's not quite alright, but there's nothing I can do about internet trolls. All I can do is to be an open ear and a good friend, listening to the problem of a friend like I do most of the times when there's a problem, and comforting them, trying to cheer them up, as bad as I'm at that, but being a good listener, or reader in this case, you know what I mean. And I'm guessing he does have other people over the time now that are friends of him that he can talk to, but, well, it's definitely one less, for sure, by this time. And as long as those other people don't have friends that he doesn't like, those other people aren't really in danger of anything. So, yeah. Well, this was now it's actually the second subject that I came into my head that I wanted to talk about, because it's good to get these things off your chest. And despite this being the second one, it's going to be the first one to be uploaded, because it's the more recent thing, and I probably should put the more recent thing up first, because it's more, well, fresh, actual. And actual is probably not the word I'm looking for, I don't know. Well, current. It's more current. It's happened yesterday by the time that I record, and I'm quite sure that this guy, just for me knowing a person he doesn't like, is going to, well, destroy my reputation, if I even have one. It's really, I can only say it again, it's really sad that the past has scarred him so much that he cannot trust a person, even if the person is trying to be helpful, nice, and respecting. And if you rewatch this video again, you can probably do a drinking game for every time I say helpful, nice, respecting, or any of the other things, and you will end up pretty wasted in the end. Anyway, his story is over, and this guy deleted me out of his friend list, which is okay, because it would have been my next step as well, to be honest. Yeah. Once again, the request for the people who know who I'm talking about, pretty much the one person who knows who I'm talking about, not to post any names in the comment section. I mean, it's obvious if you check my YouTube name, channel name, and Miiverse IDs, you'll find me, and that all, but don't tell any of the names in the comments section. I'm already trying to not get this person into any more, well, bad stories than he was already into. I just wanted to get this off my chest, and that's what I've did so far now. So, if you sat through this whole thing, thank you for watching, listening. Watching isn't really much a thing in this one, it's just a slideshow. Thank you for listening for that long, and I'm going to use these videos as fillers. Probably I'm not going to use the one that I recorded first from this point on, but I'm going to do it again eventually, I don't know. Yeah. Thanks for listening. I'm CodeReader1993. This was Talkzone, and see you in whatever video I make next. Bye.